So let's talk the politics. And joining us once again, author and columnist Reihan Salam, and for the first time, Democratic strategist Joe Listingy. Thanks for being with us, to both of you. So Reihan, I want to start with you and look at what happened to General Stanley McChrystal this week, that magazine interview and of course the fallout. What do you think it tells us about the Obama administration's Afghanistan policy?
What it tells us is that the Obama administration is very committed to having a stable counterinsurgency policy, and that really there was tremendous reluctance to sack General McChrystal, despite the perception that he was undermining civilian leadership, etc. They really made a big bet when they decided to go with General McChrystal in the first place, and I think they were very reluctant to really change course. Hence, they turned to General Petraeus, who represents a kind of continuity with that strategy.
Yeah, and Joe, just turning to you, I want to look at that McChrystal affair is likely to have on US political discourse, and will it make the Afghan war, do you think, more of a political issue?
Well, I think, given the situation right now, and listen, this is always the case, whenever cameras roll up to Capitol Hill, there is going to be a large political aspect to it, both rhetoric coming from the right and the left. And I think it'll make it a little bit more politically charged for the next few weeks. And there'll be a lot of banter about it. But for the most part, I think the continuation of the strategy that Petraeus has already said he supported, and given his record and what he'll probably lay out in the hearings, will, I think, settle a lot of discourse and settle some emotions around this issue.
Yeah, I mean, Reihan, to you, General McChrystal's replacement, of course, General Petraeus, was making the rounds at Capitol Hill this week. How big are those expectations, do you think?
I think the expectations are very high. The Afghanistan war is at a very critical moment right now, and that's a cliche in politics. We say that every 6 months, but it happens to be a situation analogous in some respects to when General Petraeus took over during the Iraq War. It could really go either way. And also, the American public is not terribly interested in Afghanistan the way they had been very engaged with Iraq. This is one of the consequences of having a very grim domestic economy. And so that actually limits room for political maneuver as well. It's not clear that we can really dramatically increase the commitment in Afghanistan at this point. So that means that General Petraeus is very constrained and that expectations are very high.
All right, Reihan Salam and Joe Listingy, thanks to you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Checking this political world, they're talking fuel, but the leaders of Belarus and Russia seem to be thinking food. Cash-strapped Belarus had offered to barter with Russia's gas monopoly to pay off an overdue bill, but Russia's president wouldn't bite.
Gazprom cannot take butter, cheese, pancakes, or any other form of payment except cash. Our Belarusian partners must understand this.
Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko said he would not be humiliated with references to cutlets and sausages. Earlier, he complained that Medvedev failed to provide anything to eat during their discussions and said the Russians owed him dinner. Instead, they cut his country's gas supply. Seems there's no such thing as a free meal or free fuel. France's national football team is not what you'd call an example of liberty, equality and fraternity, so the president himself had to step in. During the team's World Cup